Welcome, embodied ones. Welcome, remembering ones. Before we begin, it must be named cleanly. The following is not content. It is a divine transmission, an offering for those who are beginning to understand that coherence is not invisible to the field. Because a being who has returned to themselves leaves an imprint, not through performance, not through force, not through needing to be seen, but through presence, through occupancy, through the frequency of a body that is no longer abandoning itself, through a field that has become clear enough to be felt, even by those who do not yet have a language for what they are sensing. This transmission is for the ones who have wondered why their presence affects rooms, people, dynamics, relationships, and old patterns without them trying to do anything at all. It is for the ones who have been mocked, minimized, desired, misunderstood, resisted, copied, avoided, or quietly remembered, simply because something in their field left an imprint. May this be received without ego, without shame, without the need to prove. May it land as recognition, because a coherent being does not need to announce their light for the field to register it. The field knows. And now we begin. A coherent being leaves an imprint, not as ego, not as superiority, not as a demand that anyone name them, praise them, return to them, or admit what occurred, but as field law. When a being has carried light through rupture, when they have returned to the body after fragmentation, when they have allowed the divine love, truth, and remembrance to inhabit them beyond performance, their presence begins to transmit, not loudly, not always visibly, not always in the ways the personality can immediately recognize, but the soul registers contact. Every person who has been given access to a coherent being receives something. The soul registers contact. For children, it may arrive as safety, as a wonder, as permission to be more fully themselves, as a feeling of being seen without being managed, rushed, or diminished. For adults, it may arrive differently. Some experience it as comfort, some as activation, some as irritation, because coherence exposes what remains fragmented. Some experience it as attraction, some as grief, some as remembrance, some as the strange sense that something about this person is not ordinary. And if the personality cannot hold what the soul recognizes, it may reject it. It may mock it. It may minimize it. It may desire it, fear it, label it, envy it, or try to explain it away. But the deeper self still remembers, and many did not know what they were feeling at the time. They thought it was chemistry. They thought it was conflict. They thought it was intimidation. They thought it was obsession. They thought it was judgment. They thought it was coincidence. They thought it was simply something about them. But in truth, they were encountering a field. And in this season, many are beginning to realize what they once reduced. They are realizing what they dismissed. They are realizing what they tried to label. They are realizing what they mocked because they did not know how to honor it. They are realizing that certain people were not simply people. They were thresholds. They were mirrors. They were catalysts. They were living blueprints. They were divine interruptions sent into the field to remind others of what love, truth, presence, beauty, sovereignty, and the divine in form can feel like. Not everyone is meant to walk beside a divine being forever. Some are assigned only an encounter, a conversation, a season, a glance, a friendship, a love, a rupture. A moment of proximity that changes the internal architecture, even if the outer life continues unchanged for a time. Because some divine ones are not sent to be possessed. They are sent to entrain. They are sent to awaken memory in the field. They are sent to demonstrate a blueprint. They are sent to show the nervous system what love without distortion can feel like. They are sent to activate the part of another soul that had forgotten what it was created to become. And often, the one receiving the encounter does not know how to hold it. So they reduce it. They call it too much. They call it strange. They call it fantasy. They call it intensity. They call it attraction. They call it projection. They call it anything except holy contact. But the body knows, the soul knows, and eventually what was dismissed begins to echo. Because the embodied ones are moving into another octave now. They are no longer radiating within the expected range. They are no longer broadcasting through the old measures of charm, appearance, performance, or personality. They are becoming occupied, and occupancy is unmistakable. As the embodied ones rise, the field behind them begins to rearrange. People remember, not always consciously, not always humbly, not always cleanly, but they begin to feel the absence of what they once stood near. They begin to realize that what they called ordinary was never ordinary. That what they tried to diminish was actually a doorway. That what they could not hold was not because it lacked value, but because their own vessel was not yet coherent enough to receive it. This is why certain connections echo for years. Not because attachment failed to dissolve, not because fantasy remained alive, not because the past is meant to be resurrected, but because true coherence leaves a living signature. And when the soul encounters a signature it was coded to recognize, it does not forget. It may bury it, deny it, distort it, run from it, but it does not forget. This is what many are feeling now. the return of recognition, the delayed understanding of what they encountered, the ache of realizing that the person they reduced, dismissed, misunderstood, desired, envied, or tried to control may have been one of the clearest mirrors they were ever given. For the divine ones, this is not a call to look back. This is not a call to reopen every door. This is not a call to become available to those who only recognize you after losing access. This is a call to understand the law. Your presence was never wasted, even when unseen, even when misunderstood, even when rejected, even when mocked, even when someone lacked the maturity, reverence, or coherence to meet you cleanly. The encounter still did what it came to do. The field was touched. The seed was planted. The mirror was offered. The blueprint was shown. And now, as you enter the next octave, many who encountered you may begin to feel the distance between who they were when they met you and who they are being asked to become. Let them feel it. Do not chase their realization. Do not soften your becoming so they can approach comfortably. And do not return to a lower octave to be understood by those who only recognize light after it has moved beyond their reach. Keep rising, keep embodying, keep allowing the divine to inhabit the vessel so completely that your presence becomes instruction without explanation. Because a coherent being does not need to convince the field. A coherent being leaves an imprint, and what is true will remember. Ashe, Amen, Selah. Let light bear witness. This transmission will not resonate with all. Some may meet this through the lens of ego and hear superiority, where only coherence is being named. May that soften. Some may meet this through the lens of wound and hear a request for recognition where only remembrance is being honored. May that too soften. And some may meet this through the lens of skepticism and reduce what is being named to projection. They are free to let it pass. Every field receives according to its current capacity. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be defended. What is meant to land will land in peace. This transmission is for the ones who understand that coherence is not a concept. It is a living frequency. It is felt in the body. It is registered by the soul. It rearranges rooms, relationships, memory, desire, grief, and recognition without needing to announce itself. And for the embodied ones, this is not a call to look back and measure who finally understands you. It is a reminder that your presence was never wasted, even when misunderstood, even when reduced, even when unseen, even when someone lacked the maturity, reverence, or coherence to meet you cleanly. The encounter still did what it came to do. Let what remembers remember. Let what cannot receive pass in peace. Let what is complete remain complete. Remain in the octave you have become. For those of you who made it to the end of this transmission, you are not here by accident. Something in your field recognizes this current. Something in your body stayed because this was not only information, it was remembrance. And the divine is asking this to be released into the collective field at this time, because many coherent beings are beginning to understand that their presence has always carried consequence. Not consequence as punishment, consequence as impact, as imprint, as activation, as sacred evidence that embodiment is felt even when it is denied. Many are being called out of doubt now, out of invisibility, out of needing external confirmation for what their field has always known. And many others are being invited to recognize what they have encountered in coherent beings, not to possess it, not to consume it, not to reduce it, but to let it awaken what is still sleeping within themselves. So if Spirit nudged you here, honor the nudge. If you feel called to return to this field, subscribe. If this transmission opens something in you, leave a reflection. If you know someone whose spirit may recognize this as well, share it with reverence. Not for performance, not for numbers, not for noise, for resonance. For the ones remembering that coherence is not imagined, presence is not wasted, and what is real in the field does not need to be understood by everyone in order to be true. Ashe, Amen, Selah. Let light bear witness.